Hello guys, today we have a review of two action cameras that are the main competitors on the market. The first one is Sony, of course, and GoPro. So those cameras are still very important players on this market and still good in 2022. So basically we've got GoPro Hero 9, which is quite old model. It was released in 2020, but still you can buy it a new one, and Sony AS300. So this model doesn't support 4K, but it's still same as X3000 model, but that model supports, of course, 4K. So basically this model was released in 2016 and currently it's 2022, so basically this camera is 6 years old versus 2 years old. For the prices, used camera you can buy for around $200 and GoPro Hero 9 is around $250, so basically the price is quite similar, but the age of those cameras is different. The new model, if you go to the store to buy it, so you still can buy Sony and this GoPro 9. GoPro 9 will cost around $400, even a bit more, it depends, and Sony will cost around $350-$300. So let's see, basically you've got those two cameras in my hands, and the first one that I want to estimate is weight. So basically GoPro is a bit heavier than Sony. And let's start from batteries. So let's check the Sony battery is here. So we've got original battery for 1240 mAh, and it has no color screen. Basically that's why it consumes not that much power. And let's open GoPro, and we've got here battery for, it's also original battery from GoPro, it's 1700. So basically the battery is heavier and bigger, but still have two screens here. So let's see how it will work out. So let's put the batteries back. It's quite hard to close. Oh, I turned on accidentally, or no. Alright, and let's insert the battery inside the Sony camera. So that's how it looks like. So if we compare the size, basically seems that GoPro is a bit smaller, but from top here it's Sony is thinner. For the lens, Sony a bit bigger. For the heights, let's see, like this. So that's how it looks like. But when you're filming, you hold the camera like this, and Sony you can hold like this, or if you film yourself you can hold it that way, and that's how you hold GoPro, so you can do it that way as well. Basically, let's see from Outlook what we've got. Here we have this handler here, so that's quite convenient that you can use all the accessories. Also you can buy on AliExpress the same type like in a Sony, and you will have both of them on your camera, while in Sony you need to use some special handlers to get this type of handler, basically. Also it's magnet here. Alright, let's also see what we have. Screen, you've got two screens in GoPro, the front screen and back screen. So front screen is quite small, but the back screen is really big, and in Sony you have only one screen, which is not color. You just see some information here, but not the video itself, and it's really small and looks quite a bit outdated. From lens, as you see here, this lens cover you can change if you need, and in Sony it's built in, so if something happened to your camera you need to replace entire matrix, so that is quite costly. You cannot just replace the glass itself. Alright, let's move on. What else we have here? You have power button here, and GoPro is from left side and Sony on top. Although you've got recording button on top for both cameras, and basically from bottoms that's it for GoPro. It's only two bottoms, and because it's sensor screen. And here you don't have sensor screen, so you've got button to manage the cameras. From bottom, here I've got the handler, here I've got the micro USB or Sony SD card. Basically you should insert it in the right way, otherwise you can break it, so it's also not that convenient for fast replacement. For ports, you've got in Sony micro USB that is quite outdated, and if you open GoPro camera, it's quite hard to open. You have Type-C here covered because the camera is waterproofed, and Sony is just splash proof, so you need special case to put it inside the water. Here we have micro SD where you can insert it, and that's it. So Type-C, micro SD. Here you have microphone jack, which is quite good and quite convenient. For GoPro you can use special mode or special cable to connect the microphone. That's not that convenient that is in a Sony camera. Also you've got micro HDMI, which is not really useful right now, but yeah, maybe someone will use it to connect the screen or for some other purpose. So basically, yes, that's it, micro USB versus Type-C, and I think Type-C is much more convenient. My phone has Type-C, laptop, and it's much better in 2022 to have Type-C. For microphones, so from Sony you've got stereo sound that is located in front of the camera, and basically that's it. So white noise cancellation doesn't work that well because you've got all the microphones inside the panel, like inside the front panel. Here you've got microphone number 1 and microphone number 2. It's also stereo. Here you have nothing. So basically, you've got also 2 microphones here, but this one can work as a noise cancellation, so basically that's really convenient. Alright, let's turn on the camera. GoPro first. So I've got this indicator here, indicator in front. So basically, yeah, I turn it on and you can see on the screen what's going on. Front screen, you can also see here all the information, and also when you rotate it, also screen information is rotating, so it means that the accelerometer is working quite well. Let's turn on Sony. So comparing to Sony, it looks really like outdated camera, like old school. Now 2022, and people used to have like color screen sensor where you can change all the settings on screen, but with Sony you cannot do it, of course. You have just menu like this, so basically it's not that convenient. So what you've got, menu, let's go one by one. So let's start from Sony. Basically the menu, you use all the buttons here to change the settings. So you have like stabilization settings, angle settings, and all the others like white noise cancellation and color, microphone off, on, and qualities that you can select. So basically support on the 1080, 60 frame per second. That's the maximum for AS300. Meanwhile, the GoPro supports 5K with 30 FPS, which is quite good, but let's just stick to this resolution to compare. Although you've got GPS, you've got Bluetooth, you can connect the screen, of course, but still, yeah, you need to buy it. It also costs around $100. So yeah, it's also like accessories, it costs money. You can rotate it clicking here, but in GoPro it will rotate automatically, so that is much more convenient, let's say, yeah. Also you've got photo, you've got like video registrator mode, you've got time-lapse, live, and basically that's it. But still time-lapse doesn't work that well because it makes pictures, and then when you use your software on your computer you can make it as a video, but it's really old school and not convenient and consumes so much space. Meanwhile GoPro has really good time-lapse mode. So let's see what we have in GoPro settings. It's much more advanced. So you can have voice commands, which is disabled right now. You can disable sound, you can lock your screen orientation, you've got GPS, you've got a very convenient app, but also Sony also has an app and you can control it from your phone, but GoPro app much more simpler, let's say, and it's really more modern. So from connections itself, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got USB, you've got you can select even Wi-Fi band. Meanwhile, Sony supports only one Wi-Fi band, which is outdated 2.4 gigahertz, comparing to GoPro, where you can select 5 or 2.4, so which is has much less noise. Alright, GoPro connect device, yeah, so you also got Bluetooth, you also got GPS, so it's similar for both, so that they have Bluetooth, GPS, and Wi-Fi. From preferences itself, so I've got general settings, you can select volume, LEDs, basically it has also, you can disable it, enable, the same in Sony, anti-flicker mode, video compression, which is not available, yeah, it's actually available in MP4 or Sony's format, time, date, that's just general voice control, I will not focus on it, but it's also quite convenient, you can say record a video and start recording, Sony of course doesn't support it. Two displays, you can select screen saver, rear and front display, brightness, orientation, and it's really convenient to use a second display. You see it's even now showing preferences that I'm in the settings, but it's up to you. If you want to save your battery, you can disable and you don't need it. Regional modes, of course you can connect max lens mode and media mode. Now they're not connected. About, so basically GoPro right now installs the latest version 1.01.72. Battery info, so it's even showing you battery health, which is excellent, and battery type compatible. That's it. You can also buy a secondary battery, the same as for Sony, and of course the battery life of Sony will be better. So it's one of the advantages of Sony is a battery life, and it works really perfectly when it's cold, when it's warm, it never disables. Meanwhile GoPro may have some problems working with -10, -20, it can disable, and software is not that perfect. So that's if you compare just the software, that's the advantage of Sony, is that you can use it in the really action conditions, in really extreme conditions, and it will work still perfectly in any conditions. Meanwhile GoPro, you may have, it may stuck, it may stop recording, it will be overheated, or some other issues that may happen. But if you just recorded vlogging or daily life without extreme, so of course GoPro will be more will be better option, because you have two screens, you can see yourself, you have more modes, you have time-lapse, you have many other functions. Okay, from functions perspective, that's it. For stabilization, of course the Sony has really perfect stabilization that works. It's actually you can select it even in the settings and activate it. You have standard and active stabilization. Active stabilization works in two ways. It combines electronic stabilization and optical stabilization. The lens has its own stabilizer. Meanwhile in GoPro, the lens doesn't have the stabilization, so you just use purely the electronic stabilizer, which works really good. Hypersmooth option works fine. So you also time-lapse video and photo, so very simple regime. And you can select speed and it will do everything automatically. Alright, so basically, okay, it seems that I started. Okay, so basically, yeah, as you see, it works fine. From video mode, here you've got let's compare. You've got standard, you've got activity, so super view, wide view. So this one is super view, this one is wide. Wide is a bit smaller. And you've got cinematic mode, of course, which is now very popular, and slow-mo, also 1080, 240. You can also change each mode up to your preferences, which is also very convenient. You can select the lens, like super view, wide, linear, narrow. Okay, let's select super view. Hyper smooth, of course. You can boost maximum video stabilization with tight cropping. You've got off and on, schedule capture, duration, hand side capture video with hand side off. Your video will start when the shutter button is pressed, and you can even record slow motion with 2.7K. Alright, with 220 frames per second, or okay, it's all the time showing me this warning, and then 1080 240 FPS. Meanwhile, let's see what Sony offers to us. So okay, let's change the mode first. It's not that convenient to manage after GoPro. So this the modes that we've got, the settings. So we have 1080, 60, 1080, 30, 720, 720, 120 FPS, and 480. So basically you don't have really slow motion. If you want to have it, you set HD resolution with 120 FPS, but you look at this, it's not comparable at all. You have 1080 240 FPS slow-mo, which make it everything by yourself. Here you need to do post-production, which is not really convenient sometimes. So basically from regime itself, GoPro is much better, but even now it's already warm. It's just working. I'm not making any recordings, and it's already warm, so it may be overheating soon. And the battery is also tightened because I'm using 2 screens, which is also damage the battery, let's say, with time. Okay, so basically let's try to make some sample photos. I have mouse here, like regular computer mouse. Let's start with photos. So I cannot see on the screen of my Sony the photo, but yeah, just let's try. I hear the sound of photo. Okay, let's do 2 photos. All right, and let's try GoPro. Of course, we can see the photo directly and instantly with a, I think it's wide view. Let's see what we have from the settings of. All right, we have a lot of night photo and many others different scenarios. So let's choose a wide. Okay, we have on the wide narrow. We don't have super wide, but wide is fine. Output standard, super photo. All right, let's just put standard one. Zoom, no need. And let's make a photo. All right, so we made 2 photos. I will add those photos right now to here after this video, and you will see the comparison of both of them on the YouTube. Right now I cannot see them, of course, but let's see what's better, what's worse. Now the video. Let's try the video. Okay, we have slow-mo. Let's change to standard, 1080-30, hyper smooth stabilization. Okay, let's turn it on. Maximum, okay, narrow maximum angle, super view, stabilization on. So let's try to make a video, and I will add those video, of course, right now. Okay, let's try to make it at the same time to make it more interesting, and test the microphone sound, of course. All right, the mode 30 frame, ready, go. Test of microphone of Sony AS300, 1 2 3 1 2 3. Test of the microphone for GoPro, 1 2 3 1 2 3, GoPro 9. So test of stabilization, just shake my hands to see how it works. The stabilizer, zoom in, zoom out. So basically it has no focus. All right, seems we are done. All right, I think you just saw the video, you just saw the photos, you can compare. I will not focus on it because basically the quality of video is quite similar. The quality of photo is, I think it's a bit better on GoPro. The microphone, both of them are stereo microphones. The quality of recording is both quite well, but when you go outside and you have white noise cancellation, the GoPro works better because the microphone location and software is more advanced. From night side, of course, at night the GoPro will be worse than Sony. Yeah, Sony has optical stabilization and the matrix is really good for night light. So in this point we have plus to Sony. So to underline the quality of video and amount of options available, how to move, slow-mo, etc. is plus for GoPro. And microphone, both of them are fine. The night quality of recording is Sony #1. The battery is Sony #1. So we've got 2+ for Sony, 2+ for GoPro. The price I will not compare, they're more or less similar price, maybe GoPro a bit more expensive. From usability, of course, the GoPro is much better. You have the 2 screens, you can see yourself while recording, so it's also advantage, so 3 against 2. Also, yeah, for battery it's Sony. for durability when you use it on snow and a cold weather or super hot weather, the Sony will be number one. So basically we have 3.3, but using the Sony for a long time and using GoPro for a short time, I can tell you that still Sony is good camera in 2022, but it's looks like really outdated. So from my perspective, I see changing the Sony to another Sony, there is no way, because Sony doesn't release any cameras for a long time. So in 2022, I suggest to buy a newer camera if you need the screen, if you want to have waterproof without case, that is also quite convenient, if you want to have Type-C, if you want to have hyper smooth stabilization and other features that that GoPro has, I recommend to buy GoPro. If you just need action camera to record your diving with a with a waterproof case, to ski with extremely temperatures, and you don't want to carry that your camera will be disabled, and you want to have good night side photos, still Sony is a good option if you don't need the screen, of course, and anyway you can buy the screen separately if you need. So basically those two cameras for different usage. I suggest GoPro can be used as a vlogging camera, as a camera when you want just to be in a nearby swimming pool and record something. You don't want to care about waterproof case carrying with you, you don't want to carry cables with you, just have Type-C and that's it. You want to record just some vlogging video, GoPro is good. If you want to have more action, if you want to be sure that your camera will record all the moments that you like skiing or some other sports that you're doing, so Sony still is a good option. You just put it on your board, let's say on your skateboard or any other, and then you just be sure that it's recording and working well. You don't need to see on a screen, so Sony is a good option. Yeah, it's just different cameras for different purposes. For myself, after using Sony, I switched to GoPro. I will test it more deeply. For now I like it, but let's see how it will work. I'm not doing that much action, so mainly use it for vlogging, so I like GoPro. But leave your comments below and tell me what camera you prefer to use, which one you had, which one you like, what's the advantages and disadvantages of both those cameras. Of course, if we compare GoPro 11 with this Sony, maybe it will be better, but the price gap is huge, so that's why I compare those two. If you have any other questions, leave your comments below, ask them in the comments, and put a thumbs up, and see you next time.